fill it, please.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to round number 8, of the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series presented to you by EcenC.com. We are here today for the Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking Grand Prix at Road America. For Rick Ravon, my name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here today in 60 frames a second, 1080p. I hope you all are excited and ready for the race here today as we get ready for open qualifying to begin. Rick, what are your thoughts on today's race, and what do you think is kind of be the tone for today's race, if you will? We kind of already talked about it before the start of the race here today, but kind of walk me through kind of what your expectations are and what you've seen in the past from this course, if Sim Racers Edge has come here in the past, and kind of if there's anyone that we should be looking out for here other than the usual suspects.
No, the usual suspects. I've got 3 names for you. Ready? Here are the 3 names. The first name is Nate Siefker. The second name is Nate Siefker. And the third name is Nate Siefker. I mean, he's the guy tonight. He's the guy to beat. He's the guy on all of the road courses that you have to beat. I'm not sure what his strategy is going to be tonight, but he definitely has the pace. And here's the thing. I think that Nate has the pace to win this race, even if he wanted to fuel save and the other guys, decided to just go for it, he could still stay. That's how much speed he has here tonight. I've been watching him in practice. I've been watching him in practice during the week. Nobody even really gets too close to him. You have to remember, this is about I don't know exactly, but it's about a 4-mile long course. So if you're fast on a road course and you come to a bigger road course, the gap between you and the next fastest guy is going to be even bigger. So I think that it's really Nate's race to lose. But again, we have the usual suspects like Butch Davis and Chad Simpson. They're always going to be up there. I expect to see Chris Walker up there. He's also very fast. But I think other than Nate, at the moment, I think this is a race for second place.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there, Rick. And we've already seen it in the past in this series already in the few road courses that we've seen. Nate Siefker has really dominated these road courses. And ultimately, I think that Nate Siefker is really the only person that you should be worried about going into these races, into these road course races. Now, again, you mentioned it. You have a couple other drivers here, Butch Davis, Chris Walker. They're both pretty solid on the road courses, but Nate Siefker just definitely seems to have that little bit of extra, I don't really have the word for it right now, but Nate Siefker just has it dialed in. And really what it comes down to, at least in my opinion, for these road courses is you have to be absolutely perfect, hitting your marks on every single turn. If you are overshooting your entry into a turn by 10, 25 feet, obviously that's a huge distance to kind of put out there, but if you're missing that point by that amount, it's going to cost you a tenth, 2 tenths, maybe even more of that time to catch up to that leader or to the driver in front of you, and it all just adds up over time. You come out of one turn, you're a little bit wobbly, and you're trying to get yourself squared back up for the next turn, because some of these turns here, they are close enough that if you come out of one of them too quickly or too slowly, you're going to have trouble going into the next one. You're either going to come out of it really jacked up, or you're going to go into it just way too slow, not have enough speed, and you're just going to be lacking in that pace. So, Rick, oh, wow, as we're looking here with Chris Walker here, as drivers are still completing their qualifying times, I'm already going to say it here, Rick, I think we're going to see a lot of drivers just really struggling with this track here today. Just kind of knowing how big and how expansive this track is, and just kind of how you can easily push yourself when you don't necessarily need to, I suppose you could say.
I'm not sure that I heard a question in there. Was there a question in there? I'm sorry.
No, there was no question. More or less a statement, I suppose.
Oh, okay. Well, we're watching. I wanted to point out Jake Walsh. I think I got lost in that whole what you were saying there. It's my bad.
It's okay. I was just babbling on there for a minute. It's okay, Rick.
We're watching Jake Walsh right now in that blue and yellow car, and just behind him is Chris Walker. Chris is probably looking to get a decent draft off of Jake. Jake showed us some speed last week, if you remember, at Gateway. He was up there running towards the front. This guy, this Jake Walsh, can you believe he's only 14 years old?
Wow.
He's a 14-year-old kid, and he's got a sim racing rig, and he's running up here with the big guys. Most impressive. I remember when I was 14 years old, it was way back in 1984. I mean, for crying out loud, Rick Mears was still running, Tom Sneva, AJ Foyt, Mario Andretti, and Michael, and Al Unser, and Danny Sullivan, all those guys. It was a heck of a great time to be an IndyCar fan, and I'll tell you, I wish that I had iRacing when I was 14 years old.
You know, and I'm right there with you, Rick. And I, you know, given that I was born in '96, so I'm not exactly the oldest in the bunch here, but I was around the time, you know, when kind of sim racing, quote unquote, was starting to become a little bit of a thing if you were a big nerd such as myself in those times. And, you know, just kind of seeing how this technology, how these things have evolved over the years. Rick, I'm right there with you. You know, if we had iRacing when we were 14 years old, just imagine the potential there. But another thing that I want to mention here as well, 14 years old is astonishing age to be starting out in a motorsports career, and it's not unusual to see that even in real life. You'll see kids out there 14, 15 years old ripping around super late models, driving around go-karts for even Formula 3, I forget what the other one is that you see them driving around. But point being, you start them young, and that's really how they start their career, and this is one of the paths that they'll take, is starting out in that sim racing seat and eventually evolving their way into the real life world.
Yeah, you know, and it's interesting because I remember as early as, if I remember, it was 1998 or 99 when Juan Montoya first made his appearance on the IndyCar circuit with Chip Ganassi Racing, and they were saying this kid is fantastic. He's amazing. He's like the next coming of Jimmy Clark or whatever. And I remember Juan Montoya crediting video games for helping. He was the first race car driver that I ever heard give credit to video games, as we take a look at Butch Davis right there, as he's currently third on the chart. He ran a 1:46.632, and to give you an idea, Nate Siefker is 1.1 seconds faster than Davis. Jake Walsh, the 14-year-old kid, is second place right now, and he ran a 1:46.576. But to get back to what I was saying, video games have really, really helped, especially in this day and age, the modern day. Racing simulations, and I call them simulations. They are not games. They are simulations. I call them simulations, like iRacing and others like, well, maybe I shouldn't name them, but I'm sure that other people know. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. This is iRacing, and it's the best of all the sims as far as I'm concerned, but there's other sims out there, and for years, drivers in the real world have been learning racetracks and learning how to get around on simulators, and it's a wonderful thing. And, you know, I remember back to the old America Online days. I used to actually get into arguments with people on the IndyCar message board about how cool simulations were, and the simulations were nothing compared to what they are today. I mean, we're talking about IndyCar 2, NASCAR 2. Grand Prix Legends didn't even come out at this point, but these simulations have just done wonders for drivers' reflexes, their ability to learn the racetracks, the little nuances, especially when they're laser scanned, because you get all those little bumps, all the little nooks and crannies, the hills, like everything is just down pat.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And, you know, even in today's real world racing, a lot of drivers will use sim racing as a training tool. So if they've never gone to a particular circuit, or maybe even they just want to put in seat time without actually spending all the money to go out and actually drive the car.
Like myself.
Exactly. So
I couldn't afford to race a real car. Are you kidding me?
You know, frankly, and that is the beautiful thing about sim racing, is it allows people a beautiful platform to come together and enjoy motorsport. And it's, you know, because like we've said already, it's an expensive sport. It's an expensive
Probably
hobby.
the most expensive sport out there, I think.
I would have to agree. I think that it might be the most expensive. And that's just one of the things that kind of turns a lot of people away from it. But again, sim racing is one of those windows, those outlets for people to come in and say, hey, I want to try and be good at this. And here we are. This is one of the leagues, one of many leagues that we see on the iRacing service come together and put these races together.
Definitely one of the best.
Definitely one of the best.
The talent here is almost second to none. Nate Siefker, by the way, pulls to the side of the course. He pulls over just in front of Ernie Ludwig and Chris Walker, but Nate Siefker not satisfied with the lap that he just ran as Chris Walker comes around Ernie Ludwig looking for that draft. Let's see where this puts Walker. Right now, Walker has yet to complete a lap, and I guess he's just starting. No, the checkered flag is out, so it looks like Chris Walker is going to be outside of the top 15 at the moment. Am I watching live? Did you just make sure? Yes, I am. So maybe Chris Walker got across the start-finish line before the checkered flag came out because he's still out there and running. I don't think Chris Walker wants to start outside of the top 15. He really does belong in the top 5. He's got that kind of speed on the road course.
Yeah, and it might even be because according to my timing and scoring, it appears that he has gone around the circuit almost 4.5 times now. But
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Butch Davis just came within 0.2 of a second of Nate Siefker.
That is bringing it very close to pace.
Well, he's sandbagging is the question, because Butch didn't have that kind of pace in practice when he did his mock qualifying runs. So that's interesting. So he's a lot closer to Nate Siefker, and on a course this big, could the plan be for Butch to just take it easy and just kind of stay behind Nate? Because with a track like this, with as long and straightaways as we have here, the front stretch is like, I don't know, about 1 million miles long, and the back stretch is pretty much the same thing with the kink. Could he just kind of stay close to Nate and draw him in on the straightaways and then just kind of maybe, just play it cool in the corners? Could that be the strategy for Butch, to just kind of stay with him? We all know that Nate, maybe we could take a look as we have a chance here. Nate did take the points lead in the last race at Gateway. He's got a 24-point lead over Butch Davis. Butch has had the points lead since the very first race. And here we are in race number 8, and Nate finally is able to take over the points lead. He's got 28 bonus points. Butch has 17. Chad Simpson has 14 bonus points, and he is 43 points behind the leader, Nate Siefker. So there could be something to this. I mean, Butch always seems to have something up his sleeve. We saw what happened last week. He did make a major mistake, and in the process gave Nate the break of his life with that yellow flag when Nate needed it most, and Butch is still kicking himself. Butch comes into the pits. He's missing a right front wing. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
but he is missing the right front wing.
He looked like he came in there a little bit hot. I'm not exactly sure if he looked away from his screen for a moment and wasn't paying attention, or what the case was there. But either way, the white flag is flown. The checkered flag is flown for our qualifying session here. Go ahead.
It looks like his teammate, Chad Simpson, just turned into him. I guess he was just being silly there. Well, see, that's the other point about sim racing. See, now that's not going to cost them a dime.
Yeah, and that's the great thing too about sim racing. You don't bring your $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 race car, whatever the case may be. You might have a more expensive race car. That's not the point. Point being, you're not bringing your expensive toys to the track and ultimately having to either break and fix them or replace them entirely. So gives drivers a very comfortable environment as we wait for our brief warm-up and our drivers meeting to conclude, and our grid will be here momentarily.
That was probably the fastest drivers meeting in the history of sim racing. Butch Davis just concluded that. We do need to point something out. During the warm-up session, we were unable to get video of this, but apparently at some point during the week, there were a few drivers who experienced a pretty serious glitch on the main straightaway, and I wish that we had amateur video or some kind of video to show the fans, because what would happen is a car would come down the main straightaway, cross the start-finish line, and of course, you stay to the left because turn 1 is a right-hander. If you are on that straightaway, and you must hit like this razor-like precision. It doesn't happen all the time, but if you hit that this certain glitch spot on the front stretch, it detonates your car as if you hit an ICBM or something like that. What do they call those things in war where they plant the bombs in the ground?
An IED, yeah.
Oh, an IED, yeah. It's an ICBM, yeah. Okay, that's a missile. I just remembered that. But yeah, it would explode the car into the air. It would launch the car about 50 feet in the air. So what's going to happen here tonight, Mason, is there was an announcement made that we could be looking, there's a potential that we're looking at a non-points race. If anybody happens to hit that little glitch point on the main straightaway before the halfway point, it will be considered a non-points race. I believe they'll finish the race. I think they'll finish the race.
It looks like they will continue the race, but the race won't count for points.
No. The race will not count. Oh, as Butch Davis goes around and hits the wall hard.
Wow, that was a rough crash.
Boy, oh boy, let's hope he doesn't do that in the race.
Yeah.
But anyway, if it happens after the halfway point, which is 22 laps, let's make sure that's correct. Yes, 22 laps would be the halfway point. If it happens after that point, they will throw the yellow flag, freeze the field, and the points, it will finish exactly. Oh, somebody else into the wall. Look at this.
Mark McFadden.
Who's that? Mark McFadden or Fadden. Mark McFadden. Mark McFadden has a lot better luck in real life because he actually does race in real life. He races, and what was it? Nissan 240 SX. He runs in the mini stock British Columbia series in Canada, and he's currently the reigning champion over there. So He actually races in real life. Yeah, he's doing a good job. He's looking to defend that championship this year.
That is impressive. And see, that just brings up another point to what we were talking about earlier, Rick, is how real-life drivers will use this platform to better themselves, hone their skills, and ultimately just get a little bit more seat time in. While it's not perfect, it helps a lot.
There's no doubt about it. Mark actually does give iRacing its fair share of credit for helping him in the real world. I mean, he was an excellent racer without iRacing, but it just sort of helped even more just to hone his skills just that much more.
And with just under a minute left here in our warm-up session before we get started for the start of our official race here today, I gotta say, Rick, I'm a little excited to see how the start of this race is going to kind of unfold here, with an interesting field to start off this race. I'm really curious how these drivers are going to handle the first few turns and ultimately the first few laps. Now, once things kind of get settled out,
Bentley Glazer goes around.
Oh,
Bentley Glazer into the fence. Wow.
And this is what Bentley Glazer
three drivers
has
by my count.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see quite a bit of that here today, and hopefully it doesn't affect too many drivers, and hopefully it doesn't bring out any whole field cautions. I don't expect to see that happen here, but that might change.
It's just those last-minute experimental things that they try with, you can't adjust the weight jacker. It's your roll bars. On a road course, the weight jacker it remains neutral at 0. But maybe a few last-minute changes to the roll bars to see what the difference is between this and that and then different tires. And, you get caught out like that. I say, okay, I went a little too far that way. Anyway, let's begin here. It's the ecency.com Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series. What is this race called again? There's a very long name.
It is the Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking Grand Prix at Road America.
Your pole sitter is going to be, no surprise, Nate Siefker. Butch Davis is going to be right alongside of him in row number 1. In row 2, again, no surprise, Chad Simpson is up there. And Jake Walsh, that 14-year-old phenom, on the outside of row 2. Chris Walker finally makes it up there into the top 5 where he belongs. He'll be on the inside of row 3. And Kyle Swearingen, I finally got it right. I talked to him, and he said Swearingen. I said, if anything goes wrong with your motor, you're going to be swearing at that engine. He goes, that's a way to remember it. Bentley Glazer on the inside of row number 4. Yari Brupatcher or Brupacher, take your choice. I still don't know. He'll be on the outside. Jack Turner, Kevin O'Brien, Chris Samard, Jeffrey Roulette will start in 12th place tonight. And it looks like we have Jose Phillips. Thank God he got rid of all 4 names. Jose Phillips is a lot easier to remember. And Mike Grandy Sr. will be starting off in 14th place. Ernie Ludwig, Dale Weiser. No, his brother is not named Bud. Don't even ask. And, look at that, Rick Ravon. I didn't know I was in this race. Jeff Hollingsworth is out there. I'm not in the race, incidentally. I had to join in this fashion in order to see it because it wouldn't let me join as a tag-along. So it's going to show me in the race, but I rest assured I'm not there. I'm not really there. I'm here on the mic.
He's there in
Michael
spirit.
Bourne. I'm definitely out there in spirit. Michael Bourne, Mark McFadden, Paul Crumry. Is he in there? Wow, that's wonderful. Paul Crumry's out there. And Dane Bracington apparently didn't take a time, and he rounds out this field of 23.
And around the field we go with the safety car in tow for the start of today's race. And here we see it, Nate Siefker, Butch Davis going to be side by side here on this start. And I got to say,
2 points leaders.
2 points leaders, man. And these two drivers have both been fighting tooth and nail for this points lead all season long. And ultimately,
in fact, the top three are right there, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and really we've seen Butch Davis really put on a really good effort here in the past few races. Now, given that Nate Siefker has kind of had some, well, I don't want to say some luck thrown to him. Given that we've had a few road courses kind of tossed in here, he's had really great luck there, and even in a few of the, and even in the oval courses as well. So, as we get ready for the pace car to make its way around the track, I'm actually not sure where we're at right now, turn-wise, but either way, I'm sure we still got about a. Actually, we're
not even at the carousel yet, Mason.
Oh man, yeah, this is gonna be
a long way to go.
A long race here tonight, folks. So,
ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you right now, if you so desire, if you have to go to the bathroom or you want to grab a snack, now's the time to do it. This pace lap is going to take probably a couple more minutes.
Yes, indeed. It's about 4 miles, I believe, was the track length that we were discussing earlier. So, yeah, when the safety car is out and about with the field in tow, it's definitely going to take a little bit longer than normal for the field to get around. But as we are just about halfway through this field, through the track, actually, not through the field, before the safety car drops down into pit road, and we see the opening lap of the Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking Grand Prix presented by ecency.com.
Oh, yeah. Still have a ways to go on this pace lap. Why don't you get a shot of my car in the pits real quick? Just to show everybody what I normally drive. There it is. There's the Gould Charge, car number 7. Isn't it pretty?
Oh, man.
It looks like Rick Mears' old 1982 Penske PC-10. This car was painted by none other than Butch Davis, of course, the world's greatest sim racing painter on the planet. I'm telling you right now. You want a car painted? Well, you know, he'll do it for you.
As I was trying to get a better view for the folks at home to see it a little bit better there, but being in pit road, it makes it a little bit tricky sometimes, given our camera crew doesn't always have the best camera angle set up down there in pit road, but hopefully we'll have that fixed for the future as we expand our camera crew production availabilities. Anywho, anyhow, Nate Siefker, Butch Davis here, both looking fairly eager to get started with this race here today. And, you know, I gotta say, I'm still a little nervous here, Rick. You're gonna have to kind of calm my nerves here on these first couple laps.
Don't worry, I got this. I got this. I'll get the start. Don't you worry about nothing, Mason. Butch Davis, Nate Siefker, they're on the front row. Chad Simpson, Jake Walsh. Look at the field, so neatly aligned. It almost looks like a computer start. It looks like AI cars are out there as they slowly make their way up. Can Butch Davis get the jump? The green flag is out, and we're racing at Road America. Let's keep an eye on the leaders. Siefker to the inside. We were watching to see if Butch Davis could get a jump. He did not get that jump, so Nate Siefker will lead them into turn number 1. Chad Simpson follows up in 3rd place. Jake Walsh, again, the 14-year-old phenom. I'm going to keep calling him that. He's in 4th place. Yari Brupatcher just came around Chris Walker for 5th. Bentley Glazer runs in 7th place right now. Then it's Jack Turner, Kevin O'Brien, and Chris Samard to round out your top 10.
Look at this field. 22 drivers making their way around Road America. Gotta love that view. All these drivers very close to one another. You see a few drivers making their way, getting very close, almost wheel to wheel. Chris Samard and Jack Turner here was one of them that we saw here for a moment. But keeping up with the drivers up in the front, Nate Siefker doing a very good job staying out here in the front. Almost a half a second gap between himself and Butch Davis. Now, we mentioned in qualifying that Butch Davis did qualify with a time of, I think it was actually just about a half a second under that of Nate Siefker. And Rick,
2/10.
2/10
of a second.
2/10 of a second. So, and Rick, you mentioned that if if Butch is able to,
we're interchangeable. He did that last race too. Apparently, I didn't know we were, but I guess we are.
And you mentioned that if Butch is able to keep that pace, that he might be able to just stay up here in the front and maybe even be able to take away the win here.
Well, let's go to Butch's in-car right now. Go to his in-car.
Let's ride on board here on the inside of the 43 machine of Butch Davis.
Go to the roll bar camera. This camera makes me feel like I'm going to have a seizure. Okay. That's Nate Siefker right ahead of him. Now, as you can see, he's slowly reeling in Siefker. Now, watch when they get to this corner. You might see Nate pull away. Now, you've got one more right-hander here. This is going to be a second-gear right-hander. And if Nate gets, Butch, they're interchangeable too, apparently. If he can stay close enough, all the way down, he's going to draft Nate all the way down the backstretch. And he's on the button. Butch Davis is on the button in an effort to stay close. See, I'm glad we went to the in-car shot because I had a sneaking feeling that was Butch's strategy, was just to stay close to Nate on the straightaways, to keep him close. Nate is probably going to pull on him just a little bit in these corners here, but when they get to the straightaways, Butch should be able to stay with him. Now, what is the strategy for Nate? He was 0.2 of a second quicker than Butch in qualifying, but is he going to push it here? Was he sandbagging? Was Butch sandbagging? We don't know, but they're in the carousel right now, and let's see one more time before we go to the rest of the field if Butch is able to stay with him. He's on the button again. Butch is burning another push to pass.
That's going to bring him down to 8 overall push to passes left for today's race. And he's still on it. He's going to try and keep as close to the rear end of that number 2 of Nate Siefker as he can. Making another right-hander here. Nate on the grass just a little bit. That's not going to slow him down too much. He didn't quite get into it enough to slow him down. But that is going to be a little disconcerting there. But into another nice right-hander. Butch is doing an extremely good job of staying on the tail of Nate Siefker.
He doesn't need the button now. He doesn't need the button now. See, he's close enough to where he could stay with him. So Butch does not use the button. No push to pass used there. But Jeffrey Roulette, meanwhile, back in 11th place, he just came around Ernie Ludwig. He just came around Ernie Ludwig. And did he get Jack Turner?
I believe he did.
He got Jack Turner as well. So that was a heck of a good move there by Jeffrey Roulette. And car number 66, that beautifully painted car. Another Butch Davis special. Butch Davis, incidentally, has painted most of the cars in the field, so it's not surprising that most of these cars really do look great. Paul Crumry, incidentally, just came around Mike Grandy and picked up 14th place. Paul Crumry, you'll remember him from last week. He ran up there in the top 3 for a little while. Orange and black paint scheme. Who's the sponsor on the car? I can't see it. Hooters. Got a good shot of the sponsor right there. And it looks like Crumry's going to get around Ludwig.
That was a beautiful pass there by Crumry in the 15. That was absolutely great work from Paul Crumry as he continues his charge down the Budweiser cousin, Dale Weiser, in the 24 machine. In 12th place at this point in time. Dale Weiser, please don't come after me after the race. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, me too.
But as we continue,
running joke now.
Well, we got to have fun here. Look at this, though. Paul Crumry down on the, looks like the outside. Oh, wow. He's on the charge.
He decided, now's not the time to do it.
Not quite yet. Not quite enough.
Can he outbrake him? No, he breaks early.
Looks like Lyle Swearingen might have had a moment just in front of them, though, possibly. If that was correct, it does not seem to be, though. But at this point in time, Nate Siefker is still our race leader, and look at this. He's actually worked his way up to nearly a second of a gap between himself and Butch Davis. And Rick, I almost think you were right at the beginning of the broadcast. Butch Davis is probably gonna just take it easy for this race. I don't think we're gonna see too much aggressiveness out of that 43 machine, at least in the early stages of this race.
Well, the two of them have put for 3.5 seconds now on third place Chad Simpson. So those two are running away from the field. But the bad news for Butch, and again, I don't know what the strategy is as far as fuel goes. This could be a fuel mileage type of race, 43 laps. I'm really, really not sure. I think the pit window is something like between 20 to 22 laps at the most. So it's going to be tight. And I don't know if Nate is going to save fuel and Butch is going to stay with him, or if Butch starts to save fuel, I think Nate will just run away from him because he has that kind of speed. Nate's got all the confidence in the world. He's got the points lead now. He's got a decent lead over Butch. Just took the points lead away from him in the last race at Gateway, which Nate won. So he has momentum on his side. He's riding a high in confidence. And boy, oh boy, like I said earlier, he is going to be tough to beat. But Butch isn't letting him get too far away. He's still, well, now he's 1 second back. He was just 0.8. Now he's a second back. But this will be interesting to watch. These are the 2 points leaders right now. And Butch has got to be feeling the pressure because he just lost the points lead for the first time in 7 races last week. Nate Siefker gets the back end a little bit sideways coming off that corner.
That looked a little interesting for the number 2 machine of Nate Siefker. Kept it together very, very well here. And it looks like that our field is starting to spread out here just by a little bit. Jari Brupatra that we're looking at currently in the 89 machine, using one of his push-to-passes here as he tries to keep on the rear wing of Chris Simard in the 77. I believe down the front straight, that is. Into turn, I believe this is turn 1. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's turn 2.
So right now, this field already starting to look fairly spread out, just kind of getting comfortable here at Road America. There's not a whole lot of battles happening out on track. Currently, you have this kind of pack here for 14th place at this moment. Jeff Hollingsworth in that 97 machine, currently holding on to 14th. You have Ernie Ludwig behind him in the 26 machine with Dan Brazington just behind him as well. Dan Brazington, though, look at this, a little bit of charge here out of that 29 machine.
This should be a move. No, Dan's going to back off early. He's not going to test Paul Crumry. Incidentally, Paul Crumry, so far, is the biggest mover in the field. He's moved up 7 spots from his 20th starting position. Crumry runs in 13th spot right now, and nobody has moved up as many spots as Paul.
You know, and that's one of the things that's, I think, is key in these road. Oh, wow, look at that. Ernie Ludwig off the course, comes back onto track. That, little mistakes like that, folks, that is what's going to cost you.
It cost him 2 spots right there.
So as we have Ernie Ludwig making his way back onto track, and that's kind of what I half expected to see there, as Jari Brupatra does the same exact thing right as we tune to Chris Simard. Chris Simard doing the same thing there. Rick, what is going on here?
Well, I don't know. Maybe these guys have had a lot of practice. Maybe the weather has changed just a little bit. They are running the red tires. There's 3 guys near the front of the field: Jake Walsh, Chris Walker, and Bentley Glazer. They decided to start on the black tires because they're more consistent. Jeffrey Roulette, Dale Weiser, and Jack Turner have also started on the black tires. Incidentally, Weiser and Turner are in the middle of their own battle right now, along with, let's see, Dale Weiser, Jack Turner, and Paul Crumry. They're running right together, and Crumry is running down Turner, and he's running down Weiser at the same time. So Crumry looks to move up even more spots. He's running really good today.
Yeah, Crumry seems to have something in the bag here that he's wanting to pull out of his bag of tricks here for today's race at Road America. He's looking very, very clean out there today as well. I gotta say, just watching here with the number 15 machine in that Hooters sponsored machine, gotta say he's pulling some pretty good lap times here as well. And as far as pace is concerned, he's actually reeling in a number of drivers here. So I think it's just going to be a matter of when we're going to see Paul Crumry eventually maybe crack his way into the top 10 here. I have a feeling.
Well, it's possible. Paul running in 13th right now. He is the last guy behind them that's running on the red tires. How long are the red tires going to last and, give him that speed before they start to drop off? Because Turner, Weiser, and Roulette, who's a little bit ahead of those two, they're running on black tires. So if Paul Crumry is going to make a move, he's going to have to make it pretty soon, because the consistency of those black tires is going to outlast those reds, and then you might see Crumry start to drop back.
In another strategy, too, that this is more or less just an idea or a thought, I suppose, is could there possibly be some drivers that are starting on that softer compound to get that little bit extra speed advantage and maybe plan on using that harder compound towards the later stage of the race to prolong their ability to stay out in the race?
Well, it could be. Let's go back to the leaders, though. This is interesting. Nate Siefker still leads the race, but you could see he hasn't pulled away from Butch Davis. In fact, Davis reeled him in a couple of tenths from the last time we left them. And so that leads me to wonder, is Nate saving fuel? Because he normally has the pace on these road courses. Jeff Hollingsworth just called out. He normally has the pace on these road courses. Butch Davis also has very good pace, but not quite the pace that Nate has, as we've covered many times in the past, especially on the road courses. But, well, now he pulls out. Now he's 1.2 seconds. So what is the Nate Siefker move here?
I think for Nate Siefker, you know, when you're looking at from Nate Siefker's perspective, the only competition that really you have to worry about is Butch Davis. Now, if obviously when you're driving the car, you don't have a whole lot of time to kind of take in all the information that you have available to you on your screen, depending on how much of it you put on there. Some drivers will use a live timing, you know, to be able to tell how far a driver is behind them, etc., so on and so forth.
10th place.
10th place. Let's take a look here. Oh, look at this.
That was a heck of a good battle. I'll tell you what, Paul Crumry took a look inside of Jack Turner and locked up the front wheels just a little bit before getting to that corner, so he didn't quite make it past. But the four of these guys running right together, this is the best battle on the circuit right now. Look at this. Side by side, just behind Dale Weiser, we can see Jack Turner, Jeffrey Roulette running right together, side by side. Who's going to get into the corner first? It looks like Turner's going to give way to Roulette and Paul Crumry. Crumry picks up another spot. Actually, that was Turner that came around. I got them mixed up. Turner came around, and that was Jeffrey Roulette that gave up the 2 spots.
Well, Crumry here still absolutely on a mission to get himself at least in the top 10. I'm banking on Crumry getting in the top 10. You know, he's got 2 positions before he's up there. His pace is definitely there. We'll have to wait and see once pit cycles come around and see how that starts to affect the field here. But right now, it looks like Paul Crumry definitely has some hot set of wheels underneath that 15 machine.
Let's take a look at Kevin O'Brien. Kevin O'Brien moved up a spot. He's running in 9th place. Kevin, of course, from Australia, and he's got a great teammate he's working with down there. Let me pull him up on my screen really quick. Kevin O'Brien, where are you? Where is Kevin? Oh, there he is. Yeah. Right now he's working with Chris Simard. It was somebody else. That's why I couldn't think of it. But tonight he's working with Chris Simard. They're working together. Chris Simard is a former teammate of mine who is he's an excellent racer, and he's an excellent human being. He's the highest quality human being, just one of the nicest guys you could ever hope to meet in the sport. We're looking, we got a couple other guys here side by side. Look at that fight.
Yeah, Chad Simpson, Jake Walsh that we're looking at right now, as well as Chris Walker tied up in the mix here for the battle for P3. Ooh. Jake Walsh a little bit on the grass there, keeps it together, doing very good there. But yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Not at all.
Talking about Kevin O'Brien. Yeah, you know, and that's one of the beautiful things about these leagues is you get people from all walks of life to come together and enjoy these races here together and compete for one another. Jake Walsh a little sideways. Wow. Jake Walsh here.
He's white-knuckling it around this entire racetrack, trying to keep Chad behind him. Now, Jake obviously came around Chad at some point, and unfortunately we missed that pass, but I didn't expect there to be so much action around this racetrack as big as it is. Look at him. He slides into that corner as well. He's on the black tires. Chad Simpson's on the reds. So maybe Chad's red tires are starting to give up, and the consistency of those blacks is taking over. Jake Walsh is now pulling away. He's doing a fabulous job. He's not only fast on the ovals, he's doing a hell of a job here on the road course tonight.
Yeah, that 33 machine up a spot from where he started in 4th place, holding on to 3rd at this point in time. The 14-year-old doing a phenomenal job here for the Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking Grand Prix, presented by ESNC.com. got to give credit to Jake Walsh here today for his performance. Lap 9 of 43. It's still a long race left to go here for the race left. And Jake Walsh still has a lot of laps left to turn before he finds himself taking that podium spot officially, as we have Chad Simpson, Chris Walker side by side down the front straight heading into turn 1. Chris Walker down on the inside of Butch Davis, able to get around into that 4th place spot. It's Chris Walker holding on to 4th place now as Chad Simpson falls into 5th place. I gotta say, Chad Simpson, one of my personal favorite paint schemes here on the track.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's definitely pretty. It's another Butch Davis design. No surprise there, right? Incidentally, something that we missed, we just got a report from the officials that Lyle Swearingen on the very first lap lost it down in turn, I think it was turn 4. He lost it, made contact with the front of the car, and had to come into the pits and get that fixed. So that's why Lyle Swearingen, your winner from Iowa, is now running down in 21st place, and he's 2 laps down. Nobody is even 1 lap down, but Lyle is the first one to be a lap down, and he's 2 laps down. Of course, it's showing Rick Ravon down there 9 laps down, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it's always unfortunate to have that happen in the opening lap of a race, to be put down all the way to the tail end and having to try and scrape back just anything that you reasonably can. Lyle Swearingen, is going to have a lot of work ahead of him here today, and hopefully he'll be able to recoup something from tonight's incident. So given that we're just about, look at that, a little bit wide there from Lyle as he gets back onto track.
3rd place, Jake Walsh just called out. He's pitting in, incidentally. So pit stops are beginning for the leaders. Nate Siefker's in the pits. Butch Davis is in the pits. Incidentally, Nate Siefker pulled out 2.5 seconds on Butch before this pit stop sequence. And so they're in the pits right now. We'll see what happens.
And I'm very curious to see how these drivers are all going to cycle out here. We're going to see if we can get a little bit wider angle view of drivers exiting the pit stalls here. Butch Davis backing up out of his stall just for a moment there. It looks like he overshot that.
Some time. That's going to cost some time.
That's going to be huge for Butch Davis. And even if it is only just a fraction of a second, that matters significantly.
Look at the difference now as they come out of the pits. Those are your net leaders. By the way, Bentley Glazer, Chad Simpson, Chris Simard, Kevin O'Brien, and Jack Turner. They're your top 5. They have yet to pit, so they're pushing in an extra lap.
And that's very interesting. Well, I guess not too interesting to see here. We're going to see some drivers that are going to want to come in a lap later, maybe 2 laps later, or maybe even we'll see that rare unicorn. I forget what driver it was, Rick, that we saw a few races ago. I believe it was at Watkins Glen that we had a driver that stayed out. I forget how many laps it was. I think it was 27 laps on the same set of tires that he started on. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. But I don't know if we're going to see that here today, given just how massive Road America is, and given that I don't think any of these drivers want to be handling a track like this on tires that are completely degraded.
Well, I got to tell you something. This is interesting. Bentley Glazer. Look about Jeff Hollingsworth now. He's fighting with, is that Paul Crumry? No?
I believe that is Chris Walker in front of him.
That was a nice little fight. But the leaders, Bentley Glazer, Simpson, Simard, they're now pitting. Is Simard going to stay out? Where's Chris Simard? Let's see. No, Chris Simard is coming in as well. But here's the thing. They were able to stay out 11 laps. I believe that if I'm looking at the telemetry here on my timing screen correctly, Nate Siefker, Butch Davis, they pitted on lap 10. So if that's the case, they're going to really have to conserve fuel because it's a 43-lap race. If they can only go 10 laps per stint, that's going to take them to 40 laps. And they're going to have to come in with a splash with 2 or 3 laps to go. So this is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like we've seen this happen in a lot of the road course races that we've covered, Rick, is we've had these drivers that have been in that same kind of tricky situation where they have that kind of 5 laps left to go, and they still need to come down pit road to get that last splash of fuel and to finish out the race. And it's always been just a very, very tense, tight moment, at least particularly on our oval courses. Now, I can't say that too much for road courses, but we have seen that at least once or twice.
Look at the lead that Nate Siefker has now. 4.5 seconds over Butch Davis. Jake Walsh runs in 3rd place right now. Chris Walker has moved up to 4th. I'm looking back to see Paul Crumry has picked up 10 spots. He's running in 10th. I know I jumped back to Crumry, but I was very interested in him. He's a good friend of mine. Bentley Glazer. Now, Bentley Glazer could be in the catbird seat fuel mileage-wise because he was able to make it a lap further. 11 laps, that would take him to lap 44. That means if he makes a stop on lap 33, he wouldn't have to stop again. And perhaps Nate Siefker and Butch Davis would both have to stop. So that's going to be interesting for the fans to see.
Yeah, you know, and a lot of these drivers too, it's always fun to see how they handle these pit strategies and how it kind of works out for them. You know, obviously when you have drivers like Nate Siefker, Butch Davis, and Chris Walker, and even today like Jake Walsh, kind of just dominating today's race, it's kind of hard to plan around that and make yourself, I suppose, comfortable with whatever situation you're trying to put yourself in. But ultimately, every single driver here, they come here with the best mindset possible to do the best that they can. And it's every single week we always see someone new, I think, kind of introducing themselves into the top 10 for the first time, at least it seems like, for the season.
Nate Siefker comes around Mark McFadden and puts him a lap down. The next one on the list would be Ryan Cruz. He's 1 minute and 37 seconds back. I'm checking to see how far behind Nate is, but Nate is now starting to lap the tail enders. Stand by for sponsor plugs as we continue to watch Nate Siefker come around this racetrack. He's in the carousel right now. That's a nice long sweeping corner. I really do love that corner. And Nate Siefker just dominating. But here's the thing. Butch Davis has closed the gap down to only 3 seconds. So maybe Nate is saving some fuel and Butch has turned it up. So we'll have to keep watching this to see what happens. The SRE outdoor, the SRE race here, at Road America is being brought to you by ecency.com. Set it free. Be free. It's also brought to you by Sim Motion. If you need to enhance your sim racing experience, try Sim Motion. And of course, it's brought to you by the racers racing right here in the SRE. The SRE, it's the Sim Racer's Edge.
And it's
watching Butch Davis.
Sorry, Rick, I didn't mean to step on you there. But as we're on lap 14 of 43 here for today's coverage of the Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking Grand Prix at Road America. It has been fairly steady racing so far. We haven't seen a whole lot of shakeups happen in the front of the field so far, so to speak. But we've seen a lot of fighting throughout the field. We've seen a couple drivers go wheel to wheel in a few different turns. And I think we're going to see some more action as the race develops on here. But for Rick Ravon, my name is Mason Heimbaugh, bringing you the action here today. We're going to step away and take a commercial break here for just a moment, and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for more of the Sim Racer's Edge Alpha Series presented by ecency.com. Thank you all for watching, and we will be right back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad.
I recently joined Ecency and discovered the Need for Speed community. It's the perfect place for me to share my simulation driving experience with people all around the world. Thanks in no small part to all the support from Ecency, Sim Racer's Edge is able to stream our races live each week for all our fans. I invite you to join Ecency today to follow Sim Racer's Edge all season long.
Okay, Ecency, it's great. I'm having a blast driving around. Yeah, that was a fast lap.
Hey, Jeff. Yeah? What are you doing, man?
I'm just writing a quick post to the Need for Speed community on Ecency.
A what? For who community?
The Need for Speed community. It's the community on Hive that's all about racing.
How do I get into this?
Just go to eastancy.com, sign up for an account, and download the app.
Dude, that's really cool. But now you gotta go.
Yeah, I'm on there every day.
No. I mean, go, man. Go.
Okay, let's go.
We're back live at Road America. Right now you're looking at Butch Davis, but let's go to a replay. Just a couple of seconds ago, Jake Walsh was coming around. This is the final corner leading up to the main straightaway, and Chris Walker was following him fairly close behind. You're looking at Walsh. Watch this. He gets the left sides off into the grass. In fact, the entire car into the grass. He really overshot it there. Will he be able to save it? Will he be able to save it? He does, but because that happened, Chris Walker came roaring around on the inside, and Chris Walker picks up third place. So it's Nate Siefker still with the lead. That's Butch Davis right there running in second place. Chris Walker now moves up to third place, 5 seconds behind Davis, and just 0.3 of a second behind Chris Walker is Jake Walsh, the phenom. I call him a phenom, but he just almost spun the car. But hey, I guess you're allowed to make mistakes. Let's keep an eye now on Walker and Jake Walsh because they're now running right together. Jake Walsh wants that position back, and we've seen this kid. He can be aggressive when he wants to be, and he's all over the back end of Chris Walker right now. This is a battle for third place. We're on lap 15 of 43, and the racing has been much better than we anticipated. You would think on a ginormous road course like this that they would spread out, and most of the field has, but we've seen a lot of great racing. Look at Walsh. He's all over Chris Walker. Now I'm going to anticipate when they get to the main straightaway, Walsh gets the right sides off again. Look at that. He's really pushing that car number 33. Here they come onto the main straightaway. It's Jake Walsh chasing down Chris Walker. Is he going to make the move? Is he close enough to do it? It looks like Walker pulls a little bit on him on the main straightaway. That's Ryan Cruz, incidentally, that they're coming up on. They're going to lap him, and Mike Grandy just comes out of the pits just in front of them. So it's about to get interesting here. And we're looking at, there he is, Jake Walsh. Down to the inside. Gets it sideways again. And still trying so desperately to catch up and get around Chris Walker and set himself up for a podium spot. Yeah. I was calling what I was watching on my replay, incidentally, if it didn't match up. I'm sure it didn't.
It actually surprisingly did.
Oh, thank God for that. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Maybe nobody would have noticed.
That's all right. Anyway, anyhow here, Jake Walsh here, he's just doing an incredible job here. For a driver this young, for competing with the caliber of drivers that he's currently driving against, it's just absolutely thrilling to watch here, the 33.
He's honing his skills. He's learning so much right now.
Yeah, and I think right now Jake Walsh having that opportunity just a little bit ago with that lap traffic kind of slowing down the 23 of Chris Walker, that really opened up the door to get him as close to that rear wing of that 23, which he's currently still trying to track down at the moment, going down this long straightaway into, I believe this is turn 2 here. On the inside of the 23, Chris Walker. It's not going to be enough this time around. He didn't want to send it into that turn. Definitely not wise to do so. But as he continues to stay on the rear wing of Chris Walker here, I can't imagine that Jake Walsh here is going to stay in 4th place for too long unless Chris Walker here has something that we haven't seen yet to unleash here on poor Jake here.
Yeah, speaking of wise.
Whoa, whoa,
around. Nope.
Okay.
Oh, he's still trying so hard. Look at this. Look at this kid go.
Oh, no, they touch.
And he goes around.
He spins around. Bentley Glazer almost gets involved. He does get involved. The front wing of the 4 of Bentley Glazer gets clipped by Jake Walsh. Look at that. He's missing a little piece of that right ring.
Goodness.
Oh, man.
What a mistake. That was a big mistake. Jake Walsh, I was about to point out he better calm it down a little bit because, he could lose control of that car. The IR-18s, they're not the easiest cars in the world to control. We've seen several instances of that in practice. And is that Bentley Glazer we're looking at? Yes,
It
it
is.
is. Bentley Glazer, he's missing the right front wing because of that mistake by Walsh. So, I hope that nobody comes down on this kid too hard because he is only 14. But like I said earlier, this is a learning experience for him, and he just learned a lot right there.
Yeah, and for a driver this young too, these kinds of mistakes, you can kind of brush them off. You can brush them off as a learning experience and carry it on into your races.
Again.
Here he goes. Look at this. Oh.
He should easily have him because of the missing front wing on Glazer's car, but Glazer's still going to fight back. Walsh has the inside line. He's got the preferred line going into the corner. There should be less air resistance because of that missing wing on Glazer's car, but we're going to see what happens here as they head down into turn number 1. Walsh on the inside. Is he going to be able to look at Glazer still able to hang on the outside, but finally Walsh is able to push his way past, and he picks up 5th place. Glazer cannot be happy with this kid right now.
And as much as Glazer is probably not too happy about being involved in that incident just a little while ago, Glazer here is not exactly in the worst of spots. He's still in 6th place, and get this, Rick, he still has 9 of his push-to-passes left. As he goes a little wide, that's not going to cost him too much, though, I hope. But
he almost ran into the back of Ryan Cruz right there. But, he's missing a right front wing, and that's obviously affecting his aerodynamics. Every time he tries to go through the corner, look at him drop off the left sides right there. This is Ryan Cruz just ahead of him. Can he slow down in time? Boy, he's having a hard time getting around the lap car of Ryan Cruz. Yeah, this is good. We'll watch from his in-car now. Look at how far he's turning his steering wheel. Look at how far he's scrubbing the heck out of those front tires right there. And he almost gets off into the grass again. Bentley Glazer is having a very difficult time. And Ryan Cruz is not one of the faster cars on the racetrack, but Glazer is having a heck of a time just trying to get by. And you would think it. I was just about to say, you would think that Cruz will let him by because he's really not a factor up there. And he did just that, just as I was about to say that. So Glazer is finally able to come around, but I guess he's going to stay out. He does have, it looks like he has the black tires on, does he not? Yes, he does. He has the black tires on, so that's going to give him more consistency throughout the run. If he had the red tires on, I guarantee you he would be pitting because you would be scrubbing all the life out of those reds, but the blacks are going to hold up. Let's see, we're on lap 19. Glazer is on lap 19 of this stint. So another lap or two, and he's scheduled to come into the pits anyway. So there really is no reason for Glazer to bring that car into the pits right now.
Yeah, and speaking of drivers that we're going to expect to see come down into the pits, as we just saw Glazer get a little loose there, we're tuning in with Nate Siefker here, who's just about to complete his 19th lap here today, as he's just about halfway through the circuit. Nate Siefker, Butch Davis, Chris Walker, as well as Jake Walsh in that 33 machine, all going to be expected to come down here into pit road in the next lap or so. And I got to wonder how that's going to affect the gap right now between Nate Siefker and Butch Davis. Now, last time around when Butch Davis came down into pit road, we noticed just by a stroke of luck up here in the booth, Butch Davis missed his pit stall by just a few feet. He had to back that 43 machine up to get it into the proper spot in his pit stall. So that cost him quite a bit. And as we're tuning into 8th place right now, Dale Weiser, Chris Samard duking it out for that 8th place spot. Chris Samard just under 0.3 of a second behind the 24 machine of Dale Weiser here. But I got to say, with pit stops coming up here just very, very shortly here, Rick, how do you think this is going to affect our leaders?
Well, the leader, Nate Siefker, it's not going to affect him at all. He's got a 6-second lead. He'll be in and out of the pits in a snap. And, I mean, even if Butch gains 2 seconds, it's really not going to make much of a difference. Again, I don't know what the fuel strategy is, but as we continue to watch Dale Weiser, I just watched an incredible pass. He just came around Chris Samard. And they're also both coming up on Jari Brupatcher. So 7th, 8th, and 9th place. This is the tightest battle on the circuit right now, and it's a good one. They're on the main straightaway right now, and just in front of Brupatcher is Ryan Cruz, who we just watched. Bentley Glazer try to get around and had a little bit of trouble, but then Cruz finally stepped aside and let him go. But right now, you're watching Yari Brupatcher. That is an interesting looking car. It's all black. It has yellow wings, and it's got the yellow wheels, the insets, I wouldn't say hubcaps. No, the wheels. It's a nice looking car. It's almost like a daunting, scary looking car. And here comes Dale Weiser to the inside, and Brupatcher's going to go wide. Ooh. Here comes Chris Simard. Also, he's going to get by. So in one turn, one little mistake, and Yari Brupatcher falls back 2 spots. Dale Weiser picks up 7th in the meantime. Still the fastest, the biggest mover in the field is still Paul Crumry at 10 spots that he gained. But Dale Weiser, he started in 16th. So moving up to 7th place, he's picked up 9 spots. So Dale Weiser is almost your biggest mover in the field at the moment. Almost, not quite, but he's almost there. Let's keep watching, though, because they're coming up on that slower car of Ryan Cruz. And it won't be long before they're right on his wing.
And right now, as we're watching with Dale Weiser in that 7th place spot as they try and work their way through lap traffic, we have a couple drivers making their way down into pit road.
In the pit.
Walker and Jake Walsh, both drivers making their way down here into pit road. This is going to start the second to last. I believe we might have one more pit stop before the end of the race here for these drivers that have come in here the second time around at this point, if I'm not mistaken. But look at this. Dale Weiser going to get a little bit of trouble from behind from Chris Simard in the 77 machine as we have a little bit of lap traffic from Ryan Cruz in the 99. Simard on the rear wing of that 24 machine, trying to do everything. He looks like he backed off there.
Oh, he definitely did. He didn't want to risk throwing it in there. He was very, very close to Mr. Weiser, who right now is running Weiser. He's definitely wiser than the rest of the field. Oh, he's doing wonderful. No, I'm only kidding. Here he comes inside of Ryan Cruz, and Dale Weiser's going to he's putting a lap on him. But look at this. Chris Simard is getting caught up behind him. And this is what they were afraid of, that coming through lap traffic could really affect him. Brupatcher gets it a little bit wide coming off that corner. And just behind them, Chris Walker, who just pitted, is starting to work his way up. He comes around Ryan Cruz now. And it looks like Chris Walker's going to be coming after Brupatcher, but they haven't pitted yet. Brupatcher, Simard, Weiser, and let's go on. Bentley Glazer, Chad Simpson, Butch Davis, Nate Siefker. They have yet to pit.
Butch Davis actually now coming down here into pit road as we speak. So
and Siefker's staying out.
Siefker's going to stay out.
Staying out. So Butch Davis using more fuel than Nate Siefker. Remember the last stint, they pitted on the same lap. But this time, apparently, Butch was using more fuel than Nate, and he's pitting a lap earlier. Incidentally, in my area, I've got some really severe thunderstorms. So if I happen to just disappear... I'm only kidding. I'm still here, but the thunderstorms are still outside, so I'm just letting you know. If I do happen to disappear for real next time, it's because our power went out.
Well, fair enough. That is one of the woes of sim racing and broadcasting events like this, is that you don't always have the weather working in your favor. Mother Nature always has other plans in mind. So
it's still better than blowing a $40,000 engine, though, isn't it?
Oh, I could think, yeah, I definitely would much rather have my power go out than a rod go through my engine. That would definitely not be fun. But look at this, though. Chris Simard on the tail of Butch Davis for 4th place. And Chris Walker also tied up in the mix here as well. A 3-way battle. Butch Davis in the 43 machine down 2 places from the start of his race here today. So he was holding on to second, battling with Nate Siefker for quite some time. And also, I got to mention here as well, Nate Siefker still out.
Oh, that was nice.
Beautiful moves here being put out by Chris Walker there. So he got around.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I wanted to point out quickly, this is an opportunity for Chris Walker because Butch and Chris both just pitted. Chris, he hasn't been this close to Butch Davis really since the beginning of the race, but Chris has been working his way up slowly. Maybe Butch was dialing it back to save fuel, but Chris Walker really needs to get in front of Butch here, because if he gets in front of Butch, they've already pitted. And that would put Chris Walker, once the leaders pit, it would put him solidly in the 2nd place. So he should be really working on Butch Davis pretty hard here. They're coming up on is that a slower car just ahead of? No, that's Bentley Glazer. Glazer's coming into the pits. Finally, he'll get that right front wing repaired and fixed, replaced. But Chris Walker drawing a beat on Butch Davis right now. Chris needs to get by him because that is really for the net second place.
Yeah, and right now, Nate Siefker just came out of the pits just a moment ago, and he's going to be just under 8 seconds in front of Butch Davis and Chris Walker here, battling for that second place spot. So Butch Davis, Chris Walker here, man, if they continue on their path, and right now, based on timing and scoring, they have the pace to catch up to Nate Siefker and possibly give him a little bit of trouble there up in first place. But that's still quite the distance to close, and we've seen Nate Siefker just with absolutely incredible performance here tonight and just absolutely phenomenal pace. Right now, looking at lap times at the moment, though, here is an interesting note, Rick. Nate Siefker, his best time for today's race was 146.18. But guess what Butch Davis was?
145.9? I have no idea.
Yes, sir. 145.9. So, it's obvious that Butch Davis has what it takes to be fast here, but it's just, it seems like he's holding something back. He's holding himself back. He's doing something to, well, maybe not even holding himself back, but just not really having as much opportunity to battle for this first place spot as he maybe would like.
Well, you know, you also have to keep one thing in mind. Now, when was that lap turned? That fast lap?
I'm not sure exactly.
That may have been turned early in the race when Butch was trying to keep up with Nate. You have to remember he did burn a couple of push-to-passes early in the race. Nate pulled away a little bit, and Butch reeled him in using the push-to-pass. So that best lap could be a result of using the push-to-pass and using Nate's draft to stay with him. So that might not tell us too much, actually.
Yeah, you know, and looking here as well, Nate Siefker also starting to tap into his push-to-pass reserves. Right now, he's dwindled himself down to 7 right now out of the 10 that they get for the race here today. Butch Davis, on the other hand, he was tapping into that a little bit earlier on. He's down to 6 right now, but I haven't seen him turn it back on since that battle with Nate Siefker earlier on. So you might be right there, Rick. I think that Butch was utilizing that push to pass. You look at this, Chris Simard, Jari Brupatcher battling side by side.
Ooh,
Chris Simard on the inside. Yeah, Jari there
maybe
with a little bit
thunderstorms in his area too.
Oh, as he gets onto the grass
Off
there
the
as well.
racetrack he goes. Quickly right back on, but who was it that came past? It was Bentley Glazer. Glazer got around him. Now he's going to try to come right back at Glazer. Side by side. Glazer on the inside, able to hold on to that spot. But Chris Simard begins to pull away just a little bit on Brupatcher. Bentley Glazer. Let me see. Chris Simard, he started, he started in 11th place. He's currently running in 6th. So that is a gain of 5 spots for him. And Paul Crumry, by the way, has made it up to 9th place. He is 11 spots up from where he started. Paul Crumry is just having a fantastic race for himself here tonight as we continue to watch this scintillating battle.
Between day, oh
Nobody's
wow,
off the track.
Ernie Ludwig.
Ernie Ludwig.
He was battling it out there with Dale Weiser in that 13th place spot. And he got himself a little bit too wide there. I think that was, I'm not exactly sure what turn that was. But anyway, anyhow, we've seen that here already time and time again throughout this race. Drivers just kind of overshooting their turns here a little bit here and there. And that could be attributed to a lot of different things. You know, maybe it's just they're in a hot battle and they're not exactly paying attention to where their braking point is, or maybe their tires are a little bit worse for wear than they thought. Whatever the case is, it's always great to see these battles develop as they go on. But right now, the only battle that we have currently brewing is that between Butch Davis and Chris Walker for second place. You see Chris Walker just over a second behind Butch Davis at this point in time. Butch Davis here putting on some incredible pace, not quite matching that of Nate Siefker Siefker now up to nearly 10 seconds of a gap between himself and second place, Butch Davis. So right now, I think, Rick, you kind of hit the nail on the head at the beginning of the broadcast. Butch Davis is ultimately just trying to take things easy here, and he might, honestly, it looks like he's going to take home second place tonight.
Well, it certainly would appear as though that's the case, although Chris Walker is still only 1 second behind Butch, but Nate Siefker has pulled out a couple of more seconds since that last round of pit stops, which tells me either Nate Siefker has turned it up or Butch Davis has dialed it back since their pace was similar. I say similar because Nate still had the pace on Butch, but Butch was close enough to say similar. But 9-second lead right now. Butch Davis is probably thinking to himself, I hope to God that Nate can't make it to the end and he has to pit, because maybe Butch has dialed it back and that's his only hope. But to be honest with you, I don't think Nate is going to fall for that. I think Nate is also conserving, knowing that he's quick enough to conserve fuel. He's got a big, big lead on Butch, and he's most likely conserving, and he'll be able to make it to the end without making another stop. Of course, that's after the next stop, because we're on lap 26 right now. We have 18 laps to go, so we still have one pit stop left.
Yeah, and with that final pit stop, too, it's going to be, Kevin O'Brien here with a little bit of an incident, it seems like, here for just a moment, missing his front wing. But my point alluding, that
was a heck of an incident.
Yeah, let's actually see if we can reel back and see what happened here.
He completely missed his braking point.
All right, let's take things back here a little bit, Jank style here.
Quicker. Keep going. Man,
he's real messed up in here. All right,
there you go, right there.
All right, so let's take things here. Let's see what happens.
He must have been checking the standings or checking to see what was on MTV or something, because he just flat ran it straight off the course. He missed his braking point. Now he's trying desperately to keep it off the tire barrier. He sees his front wings. He knows that as of this moment, they're still on the car, and he wants them to stay there. But look, here comes that tire barrier. Oh! And he loses his front wing.
Yeah, rough situation there for Kevin O'Brien in the 84 machine. And that's kind of one of the other things that you don't really think about as a sim racer. You have all these screens and different things around you for data and all this other things. It can get a little distracting sometimes. Now, that might have not been the case here for Kevin O'Brien. There's obviously a million things that could have happened for the 84 machine here, but just kind of tossing around some ideas, if you will.
Well, we saw earlier Bentley Glazer, he lost a right front wing when he had that incident with Jake Walsh, and he was struggling. Now we're looking at Kevin O'Brien. He doesn't have, well, we're not looking at him right now. That's Butch Davis, but Kevin O'Brien doesn't have any front wing. So we saw the problems that Glazer was having. You can magnify that by a factor of about 10, because he has no downforce to the front of that car. But there's Butch Davis, and look, right behind him, Chris Walker, still trying to get around Davis. I don't know. This is the best fight on the circuit right now. Everybody's separated by almost 2 seconds throughout the field. So Chris Walker is making this exciting for us. We're on lap 27 of 43 here at Road America in the SRE, Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking Grand Prix at Road America. Hope you're enjoying this one. It's been a good one so far. Nate Siefker still with the lead, over 10 seconds now over Butch Davis. But we're watching that battle for second place. You're riding on board. Look at how cool that picture is. Chris Walker, one of the coolest cats in the series. And that is definitely a badass pick there.
Gotta agree with you there, Rick. It's some fantastic racing that Chris Walker and Butch Davis are putting on here right now. At this moment, Chris Walker is actually reeling in that 43 machine fairly quickly. I don't know what Chris Walker's got going on in that 23, but he's turned on the loud pedal, and he's saying, "Let's get this going. I'm ready to get
the job done right here. He could do it.
Very well possible, just under a quarter of a second."
I'm sorry, the backstretch. Is he going to make the move? Oh, if he's going to do it, he's got to do it right here. You know, he may have communicated to Butch and said, I'm not going to challenge you, because that was the perfect opportunity for him to make the move. And normally, Butch, knowing him and how he races, he would run to the inside and run a defensive line going in there, but he stayed wide. It's almost as if he knew that Chris wasn't going to make a move on it.
Yeah, you know, and that's another thing that you kind of take account for too. A lot of drivers, even if they're not on the same team, they all have access to the same communications channel, so they're all able to communicate
just
with
like
one
real
another.
life, huh?
Exactly. So they're able to speak to one another and be like, hey, listen, I know you're having a good race, I'm having a good race, let's not mess that up, so let's just keep things the way they are. So between these two right now, I think they just want to keep things steady. Chris Walker, though, I mean, between these two drivers, we've seen them duke it out time and time again, and they're more than comfortable racing side by side with one another. But with a circuit like this, and just given how uncertain it can be at times with kind of racing wheel to wheel with one another, I think these guys just want to take the safe route.
Well, just ahead of Butch Davis is Dan Bracington and Mark McFadden. I'm pretty sure that these two will let them by. Yes, McFadden pulls to the inside, well, actually the outside, and lets both of them come by, Chris Walker and Butch Davis. The next in line there is Dan Bracington running in 17th place. He's 2 laps down. He's had an incident or something happen to him, because normally Bracington would not fall this far back behind the field, so we missed an incident with Bracington. But Bracington is a teammate of Butch Davis, so I'm sure that he's going to let Butch by. Will he let Chris by, or will he give him a hard time? I don't know. This is going to be interesting right here. But wouldn't it be nice if, wouldn't it be interesting if the real IndyCar drivers or other race car drivers did have access to an open channel? Whoa, you see Bracington get a little bit wide right there. But wouldn't it be interesting to hear the communications between the drivers? You know, to get the heck out of my way. Hey, man, I'm fighting for the lead. You're a lap down. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. You know, you see radioactive in NASCAR. I mean, you can magnify that by a lot if they could actually talk to each other during the race and not just their spotters.
Man.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
You know, talk about getting in the head of your opponents. You know, that's, you know, I think that would just open up a whole can of worms that I don't think any of these drivers would want to see if they were in a real life IR-18. But either way, you know, that, again, like you said it there, Rick, you know, it'd just be extremely interesting, and I think it would just make the driving for drivers a lot more complicated.
Fans would love it.
Oh yeah,
there's no doubt the fans would love it. That would be great if the drivers could talk to each other during the race. And you know what? Now that I say that, the idea is out there. I wouldn't be surprised to see. Here's a perfect opportunity. Go up to Butch Davis. Perfect opportunity for Chris Walker to get around. He's going to take a swing at him down low. The slower car, slower traffic. Ernie Ludwig is just ahead of him, but Chris Walker starts to push his way past. He holds on down to that low line. Butch Davis hangs on up high, but it looks like they're approaching another right-hander.
Oh, they collide!
They touch! Oh, Chris Walker apologizing to Butch on the radio right now. Goes around. Butch Davis is missing. Is it the left front wing? I saw a front wing come off. He's missing the right front wing. That is really going to hurt Butch. Butch may be able to hang on to second place. Now, he still has 3.5 seconds on Chad Simpson, but when he comes into the pits, that's going to... Chris Walker is apologizing profusely right now on the radio to Butch. Oh, my goodness. Now, the thing is, Butch still has enough to hang on to second place. Chad Simpson may be able to reel him in. He's only 3 seconds back. How much is that damage going to hurt Butch over the remaining court? It's not like he has to pit in a lap or two. He still has several laps to go before he has to pit. But once he gets into the pits, they've got to repair that. And how long is that going to take? An extra 4 or 5 seconds? Chad Simpson could steal second place away from Butch Davis, who needs every point he can get the way Nate Seifker's running tonight.
Yeah, you know, oh man, Butch Davis has definitely got to be kicking himself right now after that collision with Chris Walker. You know, and oh gosh, that's such a rough incident to be in this late in the race. And for Chad Simpson, this just opens up the door for you. You're in third place right now, and you just had second place collide in front of you. Oh, for Chad Simpson right now, I'm sure you have your crew chief in your ear just saying, go, go, go. It's time to get on the gas and go.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at Chris Walker. We need to point out Chris Walker towed back to the pits. Chris Walker was not really damaged at all. I don't see any damage on that race car. I'm looking at the replay right now on my own monitor, my personal monitor. Chris Walker could have gotten into the race, but I guess he was so disgruntled by that. The last thing you want to do is get involved with one of the points, the title contenders. It's the last thing you want to do. Chris is a pretty emotional guy, and I think that the last thing he wanted to do was to interfere with that points chase in any way, shape, or form. So he didn't have to tow to the pits. He could have gotten back on the race car into the racetrack and still maintained a top 5 position easily. But he decided to tow it into the pits. I think he may have called it quits. I'm going to go down and see if I can get an interview with him. I will be right back.
And as Rick Ravon drops down to the pit road to find Chris Walker and figure out what in the world is going down there with the 23 machine of Chris Walker, we're currently looking at Bentley Glazer holding on to 5th place at the moment. Chris Samard in the 77 behind him in 6th place, just over a second behind him. But Chris Samard is actually increasing in pace at the moment with Bentley Glazer. And right now, checking in with our points leader, Nate Siefker, in the number 2 machine, holding on to 1st place at this point in time between himself and Butch Davis, who we saw just a few turns ago collide with the 23 of Chris Walker. Nate Siefker here, he's got quite a comfortable gap now between Butch Davis, almost 22 seconds between the two. But we have Chris Walker up here in the booth. Chris, walk us through kind of what happened and ultimately what led to your decision to bring the 23 machine behind the wall.
Well, I was getting a good run off the last corner and thought I could have it for Butch going into turn 1, and we were ended up side by side through turn 1, through turn 2, and I didn't give him enough room going into turn 3. I completely pulled a bonehead move and crowded him way too far. That's 100% on me, and I feel so bad for Butch. Butch had a good car tonight.
Well, we just watched his teammate Chad Simpson come around Butch and pick up 2nd place. So Butch definitely suffering from the loss of that right front wing. But Chris, you didn't really have much damage on that car at all, not from what we could see here in the booth. But yet you decided to have it towed back into the pits and call it a day. Why did you make that decision?
Well, I think you guys had a better angle than I did. It looked like my right front wheel was missing and I couldn't keep the car straight. So I decided to tow it back and, sitting here in the car, maybe a couple laps down. I got all 4 tires on it. The wings look good. Maybe I might go out and see if this thing turns right, turns left.
Okay, well, we're sorry that happened. I know that it's got to be a terrible feeling for you anytime you get involved with anybody on the racetrack who's involved in a points championship chase. Sorry that happened. You were running great. You did a great job up to that point, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week.
I appreciate it, man. I'm just gutted for Butch, man. I never want to pull that type of move on somebody, and I just, man, I feel so bad. So if you catch this on YouTube, Butch, man, I'm so sorry.
All right, thanks very much, Chris. Chris Walker, feeling very, very, very down about what just happened. Oh, we have a car off the racetrack. Who is that? Who
Mike
is that?
Grandy Sr.
Mike Grandy. Mike Grandy, another fine gentleman, older gentleman. I think he's probably about my age, somewhere in his early to mid 50s. He's a pretty solid race car driver himself. He's missing a left front wing, as we can see right there. He's gonna bring it into the pits. It's too bad to see that. Well, Grandy was running in 18th place. Obviously not even really a factor to get into the top 15 at this point. But Butch Davis, now we're watching. Butch Davis brings it into the pits. We're on lap 33, so he's within. No, is it? Am I watching live here? Yes. Okay. Yes, Butch is in the pits, and so he's within striking distance to get to the end of the race. Only 10 laps away. Once he comes back out, Nate Siefker, of course, the master of saving fuel, still out there, no problem whatsoever. Chad Simpson is now in second place. But the interesting thing, look at Paul Crumrine. I love that paint scheme. I'm not crazy about Hooters. I don't like the objectification of women. That's just a thing for me. But I love that paint scheme. It's a beautiful orange and black scheme. He's out there running, doing a fantastic job. Again, running in 9th place. He picked up 11 spots from his starting position of 20th. But the interesting thing here, now that Butch is in and out of the pits, his stop was 13.8 seconds. So normally it's about 8.5 seconds roughly. So he lost right there 5 seconds just to repair that front wing. Chad Simpson will most likely end up in second place unless he decides to, play the good teammate role and back it down and let Butch come around him. But Bentley Glazer is going to move up to third place. Nate Siefker just running away with this thing, and Nate Siefker is in the pits right now. There's another driver who does not have to make another stop. This will do it for Nate.
Rounding out Nate Siefker's final pit stop for the race here today, we also have Chad Simpson coming in very hot on the tail end. I believe that was Ernie Ludwig in that 26 machine just out in front of the 42 of Chad Simpson here.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Currently holding on to second place right now. Nate Siefker still in his pit stall as he works his way out of that pit stall and back out onto track here. Nate Siefker going to retain his lead at this point in time. Nate Siefker, every single road course that we go to, it's always impressive to see that number 2 machine just perform the way that he does and just dominate these road courses. It's just absolutely thrilling. Kind of got our own little Lewis Hamilton on our hands here, if you will.
Yeah, at least on the road courses he is.
At least on the road courses.
But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, Mason, because next week we run at Atlanta They run at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And after that, it's going to be Homestead, and then New Hampshire, and then Indianapolis, and then we finished the season at Texas. So guess what? There's no more road courses for Nate to have that sort of unfair advantage, if you will. So this will equalize everything, and I think you're going to see Butch Davis make some kind of a serious comeback, because if anybody can do it and put the hammer down, put his nose to the grindstone, it's Butch Davis. So the last several races are going to be very interesting when it comes to this championship chase.
Yeah, and right now, as we're only on race number 8 of 14, that's still 6 races left to go here before the end of the season here. And like you said, Rick, looking at the schedule, we actually do still have one more road course on May 5th. That'll be race number 12. That's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. So we will have one more chance for Nate Siefker here to dominate on a road course, but it'll still be in a roval setting is the problem.
See that? I saw Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but I did not look at the words following, which was road course. And that was my bad. But yeah, Indianapolis. And then after that, they're going to have the Indianapolis Motor Speedway oval.
And I believe that is the Indy 500 as well.
Yes, it is. And I will be running in that race. I will be doing the in-car commentator thing like I did at Pocono. I'm looking forward to that. The Indianapolis 500, obviously a big deal. It's the crown jewel of the series. It's the crown jewel of the world. Despite what they say about Daytona and Le Mans and whatever, the Indianapolis 500 is still the biggest race in the world. And I hate when people downplay that. I really do. It really drives me nuts.
500 laps around Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, 500 miles. 500 miles.
200 laps.
I always get those two mixed up, Rick. They say 500, and I'm like, that's 500 laps. No, it's 500 miles. Anyway.
If you're feeling bad about that, don't, because I heard an interview when Chase Elliott got started, when he was, I think it was his rookie season in the Cup Series in NASCAR, and they asked him, how many laps is the Daytona 500? And he didn't know. He didn't know how many laps the Daytona 500 was. Can you imagine being raised in the sport with a father who's I think he was a 2-time Daytona 500 winner and set the fastest single lap in the history of NASCAR, 212 miles an hour at Talladega, and he's he won the the Triple Crown or the Winston Million or something, whatever it was back then, and he's got a championship under his belt, and you don't know how many laps the Daytona 500 is? So don't feel bad, my friend. Don't feel bad.
Well, I guess I don't
Happens
feel
to the
that
best
bad.
of them.
And it's always back to what I was gonna say here. 200 laps, 500 laps, whatever the case may be, regardless of the track, that is a long race. I think people generally underplay how difficult it is to actually stay in a race for that long. As we're looking here with Jeff Hollingsworth in the 97 for 11th place. He has, I believe, just behind him, Ernie Ludwig, as well as Ryan Cruz just behind him.
Can we back that? Wait a minute. Back it up. Back it up to the main straightaway on this same lap. If we could show a replay here really quick. Jeff Hollingsworth, if we could just back this up, because Hollingsworth was making an approach. Keep going way back to the main straightaway, about the start-finish line. As they go backwards. This is fun. Right there. Right there. Yeah. I forgot. I should have done that. I forgot. Thanks for reminding me. But take a look. Here comes Ryan Cruz coming out of the pits. Now watch this.
Whoa. Wow.
And right there, Hollingsworth called out on the radio. He says, "Good Lord."
That was close. That was absolutely close. Wow.
And actually, the angle that we saw it didn't look as close as it actually was. I was looking at it from a dead-on, head-on angle. And, I mean, they were probably within about 3 inches.
Absolutely phenomenal. You know, and it's always interesting to see those incidents kind of happen because you never really expect it. You know, you never really expect drivers to collide with one another coming out of pit road. You always generally think like it's a safe area on the track for drivers to come out, but no, that is always almost never certainly the case.
Yeah, go to second place. Second place, Chad Simpson. Chad Simpson coming up on Jeff Hollingsworth right now. But guess what? Butch Davis has been reeling him in. He's been nipping tenths of a second off of this place. Now, Chad knows that Butch is running for a championship. I would not be surprised if Chad was just dialing back the fuel and letting Butch reel him in. He really doesn't have anything to go for. He's got the championship from the past season. He is the defending champion of this series. We've heard him say before in the interviews previously, he doesn't really have anything to shoot for as Butch Davis is coming up on Jeff Hollingsworth, and I believe Hollingsworth is probably going to do the right thing and let him by, and he did. He already did that. So Butch Davis is now reeling in his teammate, and I think you're going to see Chad probably step aside and let Butch go at some point. We have 7 laps to go. There's plenty of time for Butch to get around him, but I would be surprised if you saw Chad try to fight him off. He's not that kind of a guy. He's a great teammate, and Chad knows the deal. So you can expect Chad, once Butch gets up close to him, he's probably just going to step aside and let Butch have it, which, of course, Butch really does deserve because he kind of got the bad end of that deal between him and Chris Walker. So I think Chad will let him by.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. And looking at timing and scoring based on just looking at the pace time between Chad Simpson and Butch Davis, Chad Simpson not quite speeding away from Butch Davis right now. So it kind of looks like Chad Simpson's just kind of easing off the throttle. He's probably just sticking at like 90% throttle right now, just easily letting that 43 catch up to him. But even as I say that, it kind of levels out here, so I'm not really too sure how that's playing out here. There might even be a little bit of communication happening between the two drivers to have something happen a little bit later on in the race once we're closing out on maybe the final lap. But as we're looking at Chris Simard in 4th place in the 77 machine right now. He's got Bentley Glazer just behind him, just over a half a second on the tail of that 77 machine.
That's a fight for 4th place. Simard has been trying to hold on to it, and Glazer has been reeling him in. So this is going to be a fun fight to watch because it appears as though at the moment Bentley Glazer is faster than Simard. Glazer on the black tires at the moment. Simard on the what's supposed to be the faster reds, but the reds could be wearing down at this point because Glazer has been getting closer and closer and closer in that car number 4.
Yeah, you know, and as we're starting to get to that final pit lap for that splash and dash for fuel, if I'm not mistaken, Rick, that might have a little bit of effect here between this close battle for 4th place. These drivers both came in. Actually, correction, both of these drivers, Chris Simard came in lap 32, Bentley Glazer lap 33. So might be a little bit of variation between those two if they do decide to come down pit road here before the race ends. But you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong there, Rick. But I think we did mention that they will have to come in once more for that final bit of fuel.
5 laps on the stint right now. They should be good to go. They should be good to go. Chris Simard begins to pull out a little bit on Bentley Glazer now, and I don't think they're going to have to stop again because they're only 5 laps into this stint, and we only have 5 laps to go, so that's 10. I think the drivers can make 10 laps here, as we've seen earlier. They can make 10 laps fairly easy, fairly comfortable. But the thing is, if Chris Simard has dialed up the boost to try, in an effort to stay ahead of Glazer, maybe they could prove me wrong. I don't know exactly where they are with their boost setting, but Glazer is getting closer. And now that they're on a straightaway, watch this. Let's see if Glazer, is he using a push to pass? Does he have any left? I'm not showing any left on my timing screen, on my telemetry. And no, we're looking down at his dashboard. He's not using a push to pass, but he's still able to stay close to Chris Simard.
Yeah, Glazer here, just touching up here, Glazer has 6 push-to-passes left to use, and Chris Simard has not used a single one for this race here today. So Chris Simard doing a phenomenal job holding on to 4th place here and just doing it off of raw pace alone. He's not using that extra bit of power that you get from that push-to-pass. Again, if I'm not mistaken, Rick, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, it is a 10-second boost. I'm not sure exactly how much horsepower you get extra from it. It's
not much.
Yeah.
It's like 5-10 horse. No, it's a little more than that. It's probably like 25. It's really not that much. It certainly doesn't have the kind of effect that you would see in Formula One with the DRS system, which, by the way, I love, and I wish that IndyCar would adapt that because, when you're less than a second behind and you hit that button, you just fly. But in these cars, you hit the button, you get about maybe 25 horsepower more. It's not that much. It's a little advantage, but both drivers have the opportunity to hit that button at the same time, and then they just cancel each other out. So I'm not really a fan of that push to pass. Now, if it gave them 100 horsepower more, that I'd like to see.
That would be a lot more interesting. And see, you mentioned
maybe we see a few more blown engines too. Huh?
I think definitely that would be the case. We would definitely see a lot more rods spread out throughout the track. But you mentioned as well DRS being a thing. Now, one thing that I want to mention here quickly about DRS is you only are allowed to use that DRS when you are a second or within a second behind the driver in front of you. So that's kind of one of the things that I personally as well enjoy about that is letting only the driver that's behind you use that advantage to kind of catch up the field. Now, some people might not be as open to that. Obviously, everyone's opinion is different on that matter. But this is IndyCar racing after all, so we can't exactly use that as a point of reference. But either way, even with the systems that they have available to them, I mean, it's very interesting how we see drivers that, like Nate Seefer, he has depleted all of his push-to-passes, and we have drivers like Chris Simard who has not used a single one. So very interesting to see.
Yeah, he doesn't need him anyway, Nate Seefer. He's got a 30-second lead on second place. I mean, for the love of God, are you kidding? But, what I do love about the push-to-pass, and I've watched these races before, and if a driver is 1.2 seconds back, 1.1, and he's trying to close in, and he's almost at that DRS zone, and by the time they get there, he's like 1.1, you're like, oh, he's almost there. But if he's just under a second, and then he could use that DRS, it's not a guarantee he's just going to fly right by. He might just be able to reel the guy in before the next corner, and then the battle continues. And speaking of battles, Chris Simard still trying to hold off Bentley Glazer. Glazer, he took a look to the inside, and Simard said, nope, it's not happening. Not yet, at least. But Glazer, now they come up on the main straightaway. He might have a golden opportunity. Glazer really gets a good stick off that corner, and he is on the button. He's on the button. Is Chris Simard on the button? No, he's not actually. Does Chris Simard even realize that he has a button? This is an opportunity for Chris Simard to counteract what Glazer's doing. Is Glazer comes around and picks up 4th place, but Chris Simard did not get on the button, and he still has 10 left, which makes me wonder, does he even know that he has the push to pass available? Or maybe he just forgot to program the push to pass button? I couldn't imagine that scenario, because Chris Samard is a brilliant race car driver and he knows this sim inside and out.
Yeah, and it might even just be a case of he might have just forgot to map the button to his
Look
wheel.
how far back he's fallen too.
Yeah, Chris Samard here, he's starting to drop back pretty heavily with only 2 laps left to go here as well.
Is he conserving?
Might possibly be. Came in lap 32. He might be in that conservation mode just to make it all the way to the end here. He's on those soft reds, and looks like that is, who's that? Ryan Cruz in front of him?
Ryan Cruz again. He's like. Do you remember back in the old, AFX days when they had the slot cars, and then they had this what they called a jam car that nobody controlled, but it was out there by itself. That would kind of mess you up if you caught it at the wrong time. That seems to be Ryan Cruz's role here tonight. Now give Ryan credit; he's still learning. He's slowly getting better, but he's kind of been in the way a little bit of some of these guys here tonight. But it looks like he's going to bring it home in one piece. Let's go quickly up to second place. Chad Simpson. Butch Davis has reeled him in. He's only 0.8 of a second behind. There is Chad. Now and you can see right behind him, there's Butch. Now, I said earlier, Chad would probably let Butch by. The gap had stayed pretty much the same, right around 1.2 to 1.5 seconds. But here we are with just 2 laps to go. Is Chad going to dial it back at this point and say, Butch, you go ahead and take second. You need the points worse than I do? I don't know, but it looks like that might be the case. Chad Simpson, and he does have the black tires on, so the red tires don't last as long. They shouldn't be as quick. They're certainly not as sticky anymore. The black tires are so much more consistent over the long haul. But Chad Simpson, and now he's maintaining about a second gap over Butch. Next time by, we'll see the white flag, and it'll be interesting to see if Chad just says, I'm going to hang on to this second place, or if he lets Butch go as Nate Siefker takes the white flag. 1 lap to go.
1 lap to go. The white flag is flying here at Road America for the Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking Grand Prix. Nate Siefker currently our race leader as he charges his way around the rest of the track here today before he is greeted with that checkered flag. Chad Simpson currently holding on to second place, with Butch Davis following just behind third at this point. If you've been following on along with us throughout this race, thank you all for watching, and hopefully we'll get to see a little bit of exciting action happen here for second place between Butch Davis and Chad Simpson as we get closer and closer towards the end of this. But Rick, I am not sure if we're going to see Chad Simpson give up that second place spot. It really seems like he might just hold on to it there.
Well, if he doesn't give it up, I've got to give Chad Simpson a lot of credit, because that's just the racer in Chad coming out. And, I'm not so sure that Butch would want him to just pull over and give him the spot. I would love to be privy to the conversation in their team chat right now. But if Chad does hang on to this second spot and not give it to Butch, I'll give him a lot of credit as a racer, because the racer in you comes out. It's kind of like the conflict, because the teammate in you says, let me just pull over and give it to Butch. He wants to win his first championship. I already have one, so I'm good. But the racer in you says, nah, to heck with that, man. I'm going to, finish as high as I possibly can, and I'm just going to race for it. So if Chad does hang on to this and take second, I got to give him a lot of credit as the racer that he is.
Absolutely. As Nate Siefker crosses the line for the win here for the Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking Grand Prix, as we follow along here with Chad Simpson
Shocking.
and Butch Davis.
What a shock.
As they make their way through the final few turns here at
As
Road
predicted.
America. Yeah, Rick, I think both you and I were pretty well expected of what was going to happen here tonight. We've
There
seen
goes Chad.
Chad
He takes
Simpson,
second.
Butch Davis across the line, second and third place respectively. And we talked about it before the broadcast started, and a little bit as the broadcast was starting. Nate Siefker, Butch Davis, Chris Walker, and even Jake Walsh, who is currently out of the race. Lap 35, he came down into pit road. Not exactly sure what for. Jake Walsh, another strong competitor here for today's race. But ultimately, that's going to wind down our race today at Road America as we follow along with the rest of our field making their way across the checkered line. Bentley Glazer now going to be coming across the line for 4th place, and just behind him is Chris Simard in the 77 for your top 5. And we're just going to be waiting here for a moment as we get ready for our post-race results.
Well, quite a few drivers still yet to come across the line. You've got McFadden out there, Ryan Cruz, of course, bringing up the rear. Look at how many laps down some of these people were. Jake Walsh ended up 8 laps down. Dan Bracington, 9 laps. Grandy, Kevin O'Brien, 11 laps, 17 laps. Lyle Swearingen, amazingly, 29 laps down. 29 laps down. And look at Rick Ravon, 42 laps down. That's
42
unbelievable.
42 laps. Unbelievable, Rick. Do better next time.
Yeah, really. I got to get my butt in gear here. Meanwhile, let's go down to Victory Lane where we have Nate Siefker. Are we looking at Nate live? Is he still out there on the racetrack?
Right. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there he is. There he is. He's stopped on the racetrack right now.
Ran out of fuel, so.
Oh, Nate ran out of fuel. Well, you know what? First of all, I want to say congratulations. I have one other thing to say.
Yeah, a little bit. First stint was fun.
Yeah, tell us about your race, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first stint was all about trying to keep in front of Butch. I thought about going to the blacks to start, but went with the reds because I thought he would go blacks, and him and Chad both went red, which was kind of surprising. But yeah, the red stint was terrible. That was probably the worst I've driven in quite some time. It just only lap I felt good on was the last lap of the run, and when the tires were dead and I had to push on it. So the rest of the race was a lot of fuel saving involved to try to get to make it a 3-stop. You wasn't you were 4-stopping unless you saved. So that first stint we saved, and then we bolted away, and then we saved a little bit at the end. And that third stint we did a lot of the work in that second stint, so we didn't have to do it in the third. And then I don't know what happened. Chris and Butch, I guess, got into it in the T1, I guess, and from there it was T2, okay. Yeah. And from there it was simple. From there to just set a lap time, stick it, get the fastest lap, which we did get, which is kind of difficult on the reds. I know Butch was on red. It was difficult on blacks. I know Butch was trying on reds, so we still got it somehow. So we'll take that. We'll take the points. We'll move on.
Now, Nate,
Well,
Rick, after such a strong race here tonight, and after really strong performances throughout all of the road courses that we've seen here throughout the season, given that we only have one more left on the schedule, that is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, what are you kind of feeling given that
the road course?
The road course, yes. So given that we still have 6 races left to go and only one of them is a road course left, how are you feeling about the rest of the season being ovals, and are you feeling confident maintaining this championship lead?
I got 2 wins already on the oval side, so I mean that portion I'm not too disappointed or scared about it. Basically this is just a huge push to gain as many points as I can. I know I'm going to miss one race, and that's the biggest race, of course, so the Indy 500. So it's just pushing.
Oh, you're missing the Indianapolis 500
because I'm going to the real one. But yeah, just pushing as hard as I can to get as much as a cushion, and making no mistakes in races, so that race is my drop, and any other race doesn't affect me as hard. So we'll keep pushing. We got a couple tracks that I'm happy that I'm pretty good at that are coming up here. Milwaukee is one of them, really strong in Milwaukee, and a couple others as well. But we'll see. We'll go from there, and we'll tackle the races when they come to us.
Well, early in the first stint, well, actually, I'm going to talk to you about qualifying really quick. Were you surprised when you saw Butch only 0.2 of a second behind you after qualifying?
I didn't nail my first lap. I did a pretty decent lap on. My second lap, I didn't nail, and the first lap was on high fuel and slightly held up. So I wasn't too. I thought what I was surprised about was how everyone was a second behind me after the first run. That did surprise me. But Butch getting a lot of that time back, I wasn't surprised with, for sure. No.
Well, we actually have Butch Davis joining us here in Victory Lane. Butch, anything you want to say to Nate?
Oh, yeah. Congrats to Nate. Obviously, he is the road course ace in this league, and when he doesn't win, it's a shock. So it's no big shock for him to win. I'm just congratulations to him. I'm disappointed in my effort, but yeah, just.
Why don't you talk to us about that incident with Chris Walker? Chris was behind you for quite some time. At that time, I don't know if you were pushing it or if you were taking it easy, but Chris was able to get around you on the main stretch, and then you guys made contact going into turn 2. Tell us about that incident.
Yeah, like Nate alluded to, you had to save a little bit of fuel to make it a 3-stop race, and that's what I was doing. That's what allowed Chris to catch up. Prior to that, I actually slid through my pit stall. Again, another mistake that I keep making them. Where I'm at in the championship, I have no idea with all the mistakes I've been making. So, but anyway, slid through the pit stall. That cost me about 4.5 seconds, backing up, stopping, blah. So when I came out, Nate was, I think, close to 8 seconds ahead. I closed that down, but then had to back off so I could make my fuel number. And it allowed Chris to run me down. I went to Reds on the second stint. I was hoping, obviously, before my monumental screw up on, getting into my stall, I was hoping to use the Reds pace over like the first 2 to 3 laps to maybe get around Nate, to close that gap into him and to kind of get around him. But obviously that didn't happen because my mistake. And then, yeah, I don't know what Chris was thinking. I gave him plenty of room. I was on the outside, and before going into 2, he just kind of like jinked the left and ripped off the right front wing, sent us off track, and gave up another position to Mr. Consistency there, Chad Simpson. And not to take anything away from Chad, Chad drove his butt off, and another 0 incident race for him. So, the guy deserves every accolade he gets.
Yes, he does. That's another question I wanted to ask you, because you are in the points race, and Chad is the defending series champion. And being as though you two are teammates, Mason and I were speculating on whether or not you guys were going to race it out for second, because you were about a second, 1.2 roughly, behind Chad. We thought that it would make sense as a teammate for him to let you by. But then again, knowing you as well as I do, 25 years, I said there's a possibility that Butch said, no, the heck with that. Don't just give it to me. Race it out. And so that's what you guys ended up doing. Was that the thought?
Oh, absolutely. If he's faster than me, and I did that when I had the broken wing, I just move over. I give him as much of a tow as I can, and I move over. I'm going to, he's my teammate. I'm going to help him out. Could that toe have hurt me a little bit in the long run? Possibly. Do I care? No. Because at the end of the day, I know if roles are reversed, and they have been, he would do the same for me.
Right.
We are teammates first and foremost. Yes, we will race hard, but we also race smart. We're not going to take each other out. If I know that he's monumentally faster than I am, I'm moving over.
Right.
And the same thing. So yeah, at the end there, I had to save too much fuel to make it. I had to make up a bunch of ground from the extended pit stop from replacing the front wing. I lost a bunch of time from having to run 4 laps with a broken wing. Yeah, so just in the end, I'm lucky to come home P3.
We're actually watching you right now on the replay as you're speaking, and I believe that's Chad Simpson right behind you on the replay. We have Chad in the room with us right now. Chad, I've got to say, another fantastic job by you, finishing in 3rd place. It was a little bit of a battle between you and your teammate towards the end of the race, and I've got to give you props on not just pulling over and giving the position up. Like I said on the air, the racer and you came out. The discussion was most likely just to race it out. And I've got to say, you did a fantastic job. And the racer and you came out. Instead of just pulling over and giving him the spot, you just held on to it.
Yes, well, he was on Reds. I was on the primary. So I knew I had the better tires. I had all the push to pass. and I'm like, sorry, Butch, I'm leaving you. Again, sort of lucky this week with P2. I didn't really have the pace for that. It was probably like a 5th or 6th place pace that I had, and just incidents in front of me and keeping my nose clean ends up getting 2nd place. It's unfortunate for Butch again to have something like that happen, and he just keeps bleeding points. We're both of us, keep bleeding points to Nate, but it's just road course racing.
Well, the question now becomes, I don't know the difference in the points between 2nd and 3rd place, which is where you and Butch finished. But if Butch ends up losing the championship by that amount of points, will you guys be kicking yourselves that you didn't have the team orders?
He'll be kicking me if I would have let him go. He wants to race, and I want to race too.
Yeah, I agree with Chad. I don't want anything given to me. Championship or not, championship be damned. We're here to race, and it's if we can beat Nate straight up, great. If we can't, then hey, we just got to get better.
Hey, Nate, how does that make you feel? Are these guys giving you the props that they've been giving you, and in fact, the entire field just recognizes what an ace you are and how virtually unbeatable you are on these road courses?
I wouldn't go virtually unbeatable. I'm definitely beatable. Anybody on their day can do it. It's just a matter of getting it right. And have they done it yet? No. Do I believe it's possible for them to get it right one day? Absolutely. So when you're winning races at the clip I've been doing, so you can't let it get to your head. You have to keep pushing, because that's how you get complacent. That's how you lose your fundamentals. It's how you lose your focus, and that's when mistakes creep in.
Well,
So you can't let that happen, or else they're gonna start pouncing on it. So you have to keep focused. You have to keep doing the simple things right, and if you do that, it helps.
When you come to these road courses, though, Nate, you've got to have some sort of an air of confidence going in, don't you?
I mean, I know my chances are good. For sure, I know as long as I do everything right, I'm on the podium. But I'm sure there's racetracks where Butch has logged thousands and thousands of more laps than me, and he has the advantage. I'm sure Chad's the same way. I'm sure there's a track out there that Chad has the advantage at me. I'm sure there's a track that Chris has the advantage. I'm sure there's a track where Yari has. I mean, everybody has a track where they probably have an advantage on me. It's just doing the simple things right, though. And as long as I do that, keep it simple, stupid, basically. As long as that happens, there's no reason why I shouldn't lose a road course race. But we're a long ways away from that. I'm sure Butch is gonna be strong at the Indy road course, and I'm sure he'll be strong along with Chad for the rest of the season.
Well, they have yet to update the points, so as of right now, it's still showing you a 24-point lead over Butch, but obviously that lead has increased. You finished first, he finished third, so it's going to increase by quite a bit. Before we let you go, obviously this is the time. Shout-outs.
Who's going? Sorry, is it me?
Oh, Nate.
Nate.
Oh, okay. I want to thank all of our league partners, ecency.com and simmotion.com, 2 excellent partners that come on board. Actually, SimMotion, I don't know if you've noticed, but they just released a new pedal set. It's already on the wish list, so check that out. Check ecency.com. Great group of people there to interact with and everything as well. I want to thank all the admins for putting all this, helping us together. I know they put a lot of work in. I seem to just piggyback off their success sometimes. So thank you to all the admins, Butch, Chris, and Dan. They do an excellent job. Thank every guy who came out to race tonight. It's hard getting people to come out to a road course, but we had 21 people take the green flag.
Yeah, it's pretty good feel.
So that's awesome to see that. And thank you guys for being in the booth. Really, really appreciate that. And then also thank my personal sponsors. Midwest Kidney Warriors, a great group of people. It's a great support group, great research tool to help people find living kidney donors. It's an awesome tool, and we're pleased to have them on board as well.
All right, Nate. Well, thanks so much for joining us. It's another great victory for you, and we'll see you next week at Atlanta.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Nate Siefker, everybody. Butch Davis, do you have anything else you'd like to add before you give your thanks and shout-outs?
Just congratulations to Nate again on the win. Congrats to Chad on picking up P2 and pretty much anybody that finished this race. We know road courses are not necessarily everybody's bread and butter. I'm going to step over Chad here so we don't go back and forth. I just want to thank all you guys. Obviously, the same sponsors that Nate spoke about with easancy.com and Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking, as well as Sim Motion. Pedals Nate's talking about our VNM simulations, by the way. They're awesome. Definitely thank you guys in the booth. Thank my friends and family and whatnot. And eventually this luck's got to change. So, we'll keep on keeping on. And 6 more races to go this season and a lot of points to make up. So we got to get on our A game here.
Yep, no doubt about it. Mason, if you don't have anything else for Butch or Chad, we'll let Chad do his shout-outs.
Butch, you had a phenomenal race here tonight, and I was a little heartbroken for you when you got into contact there with Chris Walker after today's race. You were looking very, very strong, and it looked like you were going to be able to contend there with Nate Siefker for some time. Hopefully going forward, we'll see yourself and Nate Siefker in some tighter battles, and hopefully see yourself back on top of the points championship. But that is all I'm going to have for you, Butch. I hope you have a great night, and hopefully we'll get to see you back in the podium next week.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right. Butch Davis, Chad, you have anything else to say before you give your shout-outs?
Yeah, it seems like you seem to talk to the same people every week. I'm sorry you don't have some.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Thanks to Satellite Racing, FBR Motorsports, Sim Inc., Maradness, Ellis Engineering, Nemesis Lab, Sim Racers Edge, the admin team. Mikey Bourne had some storms in his area, was having some connection issues, so Dan was helping out there a little bit. Team Goon Squad, you guys with the broadcast, and last week my mom was very upset that I did not ever mention my fan club, so hello to everybody watching.
Oh. Well, Chad, when Indianapolis comes around, and of course this is the oval, not the road course, I want to make sure I get that straight. The Indianapolis 500 will not have Nate Siefker in it, so at least there's one person likely not to be interviewed as a podium finisher after that race. We'll have one new guy up here with us.
Yeah, I'll be very worn out in that race after going hard for the official open for several weeks prior to that. So we'll see.
Oh, really? Tell us about that, the official opens.
Yeah, it's the week before. The main event is Saturday afternoon, and I've been in the top split race for the past 7 years, so trying to make it number 8. It's a grind.
Have you ever won one of those things?
No, I came close one year. It's not a fun story to tell. I restarted with 4 to go in the lead, and I finished 3rd.
So that's your best finish, 3rd?
Yeah.
Well, you'll be looking to improve upon that this year. So you run the officials as far as the iRacing official Indianapolis 500. Do you run the open and the fixed? Do you run both of them?
No, I don't run any of the other official series. It's pretty much just Indy for me.
Oh, well, that's definitely understandable. Well, Chad Simpson, congratulations again on another fine performance, another second-place finish. Do you have any intentions of really trying hard to defend this championship, or are you still out there just having fun?
I mean, whatever happens, happens. I'm not trying to lose. If I can win, then so be it.
Definitely hear that. Mason, anything left for Chad?
Chad, sir, you are one of the drivers here that I expect to see do fairly well in this season, and hopefully we'll get to see yourself up here in the podium more often, as well as your teammate, Butch Davis. But Chad, congratulations on taking home second place for tonight. I'm sure that was probably a little unexpected on your behalf, but still well deserved and well earned. So with that in mind, Chad, congratulations once again, and hopefully we get to see some similar performance next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, Chad Simpson, Mason, This was definitely this was a night that I did not expect to see as many battles throughout the field, given the nature of the track and the size of the track. But it was definitely more entertaining than I thought it would be.
Definitely a lot more entertaining than we expected. That's for sure. You know, it's always a little bit of uncertainty going into these road courses. You know, you're never really too sure how the field is going to kind of play out, how things are going to spread out. But all of these drivers here did a phenomenal job. Again, like you said yourself, we had battles throughout the field for up in the front. We had battles midfield. We even had drivers duking it out towards the back. So a lot of great action here today at Road America. And again, if you weren't here towards the earlier on in the broadcast, there's only one more road course left for the season out of the 6 races left for the season. So if you want to catch some of that action, make sure you get subscribed and get yourself ready for the rest of the season here as we prepare ourselves to go into Atlanta Motor Speedway next week on the 9th.
Yes, indeed. And I'd also like to point out that we had the fear that maybe one of these drivers would hit that sour spot on the main stretch and detonate their car. It was a glitch that was discovered by a few different cars in practice, but fortunately it did not rear its ugly head here tonight, and we were able to complete the entire 43-lap distance. Let's take a look at the final standings from tonight's race. And we have Nate Siefker winning. That wasn't the graphic. Nate Siefker wins tonight's race. Chad Simpson comes home in second place, beating his teammate Butch Davis for second place by just 2 seconds. Bentley Glazer will finish in fourth place. Then it's Chris Simard in fifth. Yari Brubpatcher, Jack Turner, Dale Weiser, Paul Crumry with the biggest move in the entire field. He jumped up 12 spots, and he finishes in ninth. Jeffrey Roulette will bring it home in 10th. Then it's Jeff Hollingsworth, Ernie Ludwig, Chris Walker, Mark McFadden, Ryan Cruz, Jake Walsh, Dan Bracington, Mike Grandy, Kevin O'Brien, Lyle Swearingen. I got that right. Okay, so congratulations again to Nate Siefker. He brings home the victory, and we hope that you've enjoyed this running of the SRE Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking Grand Prix at Road America, and we hope that you'll join us next week as we head to Atlanta, as they call it, Hotlanta. For Mason Heimball, I'm Rick Ravon saying thanks for joining us, and so long from Road America.